What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have liked and sub, and let's get into this. All right, Superman, we are getting closer and closer to release, which means marketing is ramping up and hopefully getting a damn sight better than it's been. And there's been some things. David Cornsweet, specifically, some of the new music we heard that does get me excited. And now we have this Superman Welcome to Metropolis, the official novel inspired by the film. It's a prequel. Source for this is Reddit, but fear not. That just means that it is an actual super fan that bought this book, read this book, and then has bullet pointed out some of the things that we learned, because I sure as hell was not going to read it. Before we get to what happens in the book and the spoilers for the movie, we also got some character descriptions with that book. So here's, of course, Superman, originally from the planet Krypton. Superman goes by the name Clark Kent on Earth. After bidding goodbye to his ma and pa in the small town appropriately called Smallville, Clark moved to Metropolis. Now, Clark tries to balance a full-time job as a reporter at the Daily Planet with being a superhero. Can he protect his friends and get the major scoop for the next article? Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Terrific, rather. Mr. Terrific is one of the metahumans residing in Metropolis. And problem with metahumans is we've seen that James Gunn considers everyone a metahuman, even if you're not human. Yes, he thinks Superman is a metahuman. His brilliant invention, the T-spheres, help him do everything from battling supervillains to running his high-tech company, Holt Industries, where he leads his civilian life as a scientist named Michael Holt. And then, of course, we get the Justice Gang. Hot Girl, Mr. Terrific, and Green Lantern make up the Justice Gang. Even though the name is still to be confirmed, these heroes know that working as a team makes them a greater force for good than working independently, and they get paid by Maxwell Lord. And then there is Green Lantern. Green Lantern, also known as Guy Gardner, gets his power from the glowing green ring on his finger. With the ring, he can project energy and create anything he imagines. He's part of a team of metahumans committed to fighting crime, protecting the citizens of Metropolis from the dangers. Guy wants to name the new team he is in the Justice Gang, even though they have a fucking symbol on their chest that we once thought was a JL, but very clearly looks like a JG. But he's not yet convinced his fellow team members. So there we go. This is a prequel, so presumably by the time of the movie, it will be called Justice Gang. And then Hot Girl soars above the city of Metropolis on her huge wings, wielding a magical golden mace that matches her custom helmet and uniform. I don't think nth metal is golden, but that's fine. Her power of flight lets her swoop in and out of battles to fight supervillains and rescue civilians as needed. And then, yeah, the Justice Gang, Lois Lane, and so on, Jimmy Olsen, and so on and so forth. Lex Luthor is the head of Metropolis's powerful tech company, Luthor Corp. He runs the tight ship, but while most of his underlings don't always respect him, they know not to mess with Luthor's diabolical plans. One of which includes inserting a dead assassin's brain into the metal body of a weaponized robot, Metallo. Luthor's supervillain antics were largely undisturbed until a certain Superman came to town. So let's get into some of the things from the actual novel. The book starts with Clark attempting to get a job at the Daily Planet in Metropolis. Clark manages to get the job after he gets an exclusive on Superman because he's the first on the scene. He's doing the Peter Parker thing, thwarting a plot to attack a toy factory. Lex Luthor is attempting to shut down a rival's operation. Clark is introduced to Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane by Perry White. They're told to work together when Metallo attacks City Hall. While fighting Metallo, Hot Girl, Green Lantern, and Mr. Terrific arrive to help out. The fight ends when Superman wraps Metallo in steel and drops him in the harbor, murdering him. But no, okay, so he pulls what happens to Wolverine at Days of Future Past, gets wrapped in steel and dropped into the water. Lois fails to get an interview, but Clark manages to get an interview with Superman, and we could see that in some of the behind the scenes on the trailers, like literally in the back of screens on computers. You can see the written by Perry and Lois Perry has Lois and Clark run a story on Metallo and try and figure out where he came from. Lois goes to LexCorp and Clark goes to Holt Industries. Okay. Clark can't get an interview, but Superman comes in to speak with Mr. Terrific. Terrific alludes towards Luthor being less altruistic than he seems. Lois can't break ground with her interview. After the initial failure, Luthor fishes Metallo out of the harbor and decides to upgrade him with a new energy defense element, kryptonite. Although it's never officially named, Metallo attacks again and nearly defeats Superman with his new abilities. At this point in time, Superman is not aware of the weakness of kryptonite. The Justice Gang shows up, again, named, coined by Guy Gardner, but not used or liked by the other team members, shows up and saves Superman, and together they destroy Metallo. Mr. Terrific suggests that Superman should join the team, and Superman says he would consider before leaving. Luthor obtains the remains of Metallo and starts to piece together that Superman may have a weakness after all. And we, of course, do see him learn this because in the movie we see Metamorpho being forced to create kryptonite to weaken Superman. And Lois finally gets her interview with Superman, courtesy of Clark Kent. Side notes, the DC is approved and supposedly takes place in this is, by the way, yeah, that's what he's saying, is this is supposed to be the exact same canon as the movies and shows. We also found out, like I said, that he's already fought Metropolis in that. That's going to be the main villain. And that he does, in fact, wear his superhero suit under his clothes. Clark wasted no time. The second he was outside the Daily Planet building, he looked around for a private spot. It was still raining, even harder than before. Across the street, he spotted a narrow alley, a dark gap between two towering buildings. He dashed across the busy avenue, dodging honking cars and buses, almost slipping on the wet pavement. As he sprinted into the alley, Clark tugged at his tie, loosening it. Once it was far enough in and sure that no one could see him, he quickly changed into, so he does, he hides. New villain named the Hammer of Baravia is introduced in the movie that we know about, and the book says that it is as strong. He is as strong as Superman. This is the golden dude, the fish tank fucking head that everyone knows is going to be a clone of it's Ultraman, who's a clone of Clark, and that's why he's as strong. And then, of course, yeah, Green Lantern's Guy Gardner shows up, uses his ring to make some fun and strange things, create stuff like a water bottle that filters water, a flying board to ride on, a big net, a trampoline, a battering ram, and a spear, a cactus, an octopus, and even a jet engine. So there you go. That's how he uses his powers. And then just more of those pictures that we showed you in the beginning, more of the biographies of people. Okay. So again, like all the other things, having a Batman 10 years in where he's fought most of his seminal villains, we've already got a Superman show up where he's already fought and beaten Metallo. And it's the Justice Gang, but it's not official. It's the Justice Gang, even though it looks like they have JGs on their chest. I don't know. There you go. I was never going to buy that book. So there we go. We've got the story, and we know that's how he meets Lois. And there we go. He gets his job by interviewing himself. So let me know what you think about all this. Oh boy. Either way, make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And
well, bye.